Been doing some very interesting things, and we've been traveling and lecturing quite a bit. So what we want to do is the first 20 minutes of our lecture, 15, 20 minutes, depending on how long we talk for, is Dad's history. So to tell people where this word came from. So what we'll do is we'll tell you this history as pictures scroll in the background. Typically we keep one picture up of our father, which was that first one, and we talk and talk and talk. So he's with us as we do what we do, but when the pictures scroll in the background, if we get distracted by them, that's okay. Right? All right, so, I don't know if we can pause it. I can try. So, it's a lot like Lila. So, our father, Dr. Harvey Bigelsen, born in Brooklyn, New York, to a wonderful Jewish family. Uncle Freddie, his brother, here today. We're thrilled. Please say hello to Freddie when you get a chance. And the story goes that by the age of 7, Grandma had told Dad that as he grew up, his idea was either to be...
The table.
Oh, the table, the podium. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime. The idea was, as being born into a nice Jewish family in Brooklyn, New York, his choice in life was to either become a doctor or a lawyer. Those were his choices. He originally wanted to be a comedian, for those of you who know. Yeah, he was funny in his own way, wasn't he?
Yes.
So Dad decided he was going to be a doctor, and he decided he was going to cure cancer. So at the age of 7, Mima, our grandma, says, "You can't do that." And Dad says, "Why not? That's what doctors do." So at the age of 7, he was ready to cure cancer. As he goes on in life, 4th grade. Tell him about 4th grade while I cry.
In 4th grade, they give him a math placement test at the beginning of the school year to see where he should place that year. So instead of doing the test on page 44, he did the test on page 444, which was 11th grade math. And he got 100% and didn't show any work.
Did not show any work at all.
So of course they said, well, you're cheating. And they gave him a different test, 11th grade level. He got 100% and didn't show his work. He was doing it all in his head. I did not inherit that math.
My brother, my sister, and I have all cried with our father trying to help us with our math homework as we were children. The man was a genius and spoke a different language. Math to him was something he could just read. It was very interesting. So we know he was smart, but his teachers knew that too. As he went on in life, they wouldn't even let him try out for the football team in high school because he was so small. Junior year, he got to try out for the football team, and he became captain of the football team in inner city Brooklyn. So the other teams would laugh at him when he would come out on the field, and at the end they would shake his hand because he was running that ball.
He broke his nose 9 times playing football, which led to some interesting snoring patterns. And he was so proud, and I don't know, Freddie, if you remember this, but he was one of the first kids on his block to have a face mask in his helmet.
For football.
And he was all excited. And the first game, somebody punched him right through the face mask and broke his nose.
Aww.
Yes.
Running back.
Running back, yeah. So as time goes on with Dad, and he does his schooling experience, he decides he wants to do medical school, and he actually gets accepted to medical school after 3 years of college. So he wasn't required to graduate from college for him to be able to move on to medical school. So once again, validating the fact that there's something going on upstairs here, most definitely. He goes to medical school, and the first day of medical school, they write things like homeopathy on the board and proceed to make fun of it.
Homeopathy, chiropractics, osteopathy.
Yeah, and it's funny because he said at that point they were teaching him that all they needed to know was what he was about to learn. Oh, this is Dad, by the way, going to the bathroom while fishing in the Bahamas.
We went on a lot of fishing trips together, and I was famous for knowing when he was going to the bathroom and taking pictures of him in strange areas. And on that one he said, "Don't take a picture of me." Of course I got a picture of him. He probably hated the fact that I was showing it, but...
Yes. So where was I?
Medical school.
That's right. Medical school. Yes, thank you, medical school. So as he's being taught basically in medical school. They're teaching him all you need to know is what we're going to teach you. And Dad was funny because he would ask questions, and they would say, "Read the book." And there was a point in time where Dad would say, "I think the book is wrong." You know our father, right? He said the first year they taught him what a normal body was, the second year what an abnormal body was, and they never taught him how one became the other. So he had a lot of questions, basically. He was questioning his schooling, is what happened. As he's doing this, he finally gets his medical degree. He's doing an internship when Vietnam happens. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so he gets drafted to Vietnam.
The only lottery he ever won.
Yeah, only lottery he ever won. And he, as he does this, he goes off to Vietnam, and we've heard stories about, lies from Vietnam, but he experiences them firsthand. So he starts to question his government, basically. He's questioning the medical experience, he's questioning his government, and he's very high functioning, so who knows what's going to happen.
Well, at that point, he was stationed in Kentucky, and our mother was the only teacher of special education in the whole state of Kentucky. So the senator of Kentucky wanted to keep my father there to do his service. So actually mom could be there. But they said because he wasn't qualified enough to take care of retired generals, they sent him to Vietnam.
Aww.
To take care of our troops. That's how they take care of our troops.
Couldn't work on the cataract, but he could work on you if your face was blown off. Right. He came back from Vietnam a week early, he got discharged, and had nightmares ever since that they were going to call him back to service for one more week.
He was head of mass casualties in his unit because eye surgery came last, so he had to do triage. So he always talked about he had to decide who got help and who they couldn't help. So he said after that, his goal was just to help everybody because the people he couldn't get to in Vietnam.
Yeah, and then when he came back, he also saw the success rate they were having in his hospital in Vietnam was 98% success
98%
rate.
success rate.
Yeah, and he came back to the United States and wasn't seeing that in the hospitals. So once again, he's on a little bit of a mission to save everybody. As he's doing this type of stuff, at this point in time, he's back in the United States and he's a rich eye surgeon. So this is what he's wanted to do. We have the Porsche, we have the Jaguar. We did not have art on our walls, we had artists paint on our walls, which was really wild. But there's a point in time when he decides he's not really helping people the way he would like to help people. But something happens. Someone comes to him for a consultation. And whatever goes on with the consultation, the person says, there's a different procedure I've heard about, I'm going to go try this. So you want to pick up this one.
They want to try an alternative procedure. And whatever the practitioner did, it was a homeopath, and the person was cured. So Dad went to learn from the homeopath, and they were doing what was called a retrobulbar injection. So they were pushing the eyeball to the side and injecting to the back, and it fixed the person's case. So the client comes in a few months later with the same problem. And Dad's like, this is great. I know exactly what to do. Pushes the eyeball to the side, injects it, and fixes the case. So the client